Okay, people, we're needing to tune up this little slide, the cutest little slide you ever did see. Look at that. Isn't that fun? Very cute. So I had a bunch of cracks set on the bottom here, bunch up here, ground them out to the dovetail thing, all the way down. Then high strength mortar mix, rapid set in the brown bag. That's what I use anyway. See how big a patch it was. Quite a bit cracking going on. Expansion contraction, very normal right on the edge of the pool. This is all concrete. This is a swimming pool. The mastic goes in on the outer edge. It's an expansion joint, so the pool structure is separate from decks. They don't tug and pull and push with each other, but we have the cracks that occur. Thing is 25 years old, so it's kind of done when it's done. So the patches of these little cracks, pretty fast and easy. So ground it out with a diamond disc, 4.5 inch, and then came back with a cup grinder diamond, scuffed up all this epoxy to get it to where it's a little more rough. So ground out around the pipe there, the pipe feed and stuff, all the way around here as well. I can see a little bit of my mortar mix stuff that I got to get out of there. So this thing is now ready, except for the little crumblies that I just got here, which is annoying. I'll have to brush it again. But so came back with a diamond cup by hand and then scuffed around all the places I patched. So this thing is going to get some new polyurethane or polyaspartic, I can't remember which. So coming around, getting all the crumbliness out of here. We don't want any little tiny little bits of sand when they're on the slide and they're locked into the coating, the polyurethanes, epoxies, what have you. It will make a nice little scratch on your butt, elbows, cheeks, knees, whatever. So good to clean it up, spritz it off with the air gun or air blower, leaf blower. Already did this, but I'm doing it again just to be safe. All right, so give it a breeze, give it a brush. And now we're gonna sit down our little station, piece of wood, so I'm making it better. And we have Rhino Seal flooring, natural tough Rhino linings product, Concrete Solutions where I got it. And it's a polyaspartic if I remember right. So equal parts of both, so I'm gonna mix that up now and make it nice. Okay, I use this as a way to open it, which is good enough. Gets it figured out. It's a clear we're starting off with, but this is going to stay with the client, and we want to get it to be a gray color, as you can see. So I don't know how much, but I'm going to throw that in there. Get my little spinner to see what kind of gray color we got. The more I do, the better. That's a nice gray. I kind of like that. That kind of matches what we have there. Client liked the idea of a light color. The guy told me that if I mix this in with it together, the pigment and the tinting can make the product go off quicker. So I'm just going to do it in the part A, which he told me to do first, and then this can be utilized in the future. It won't get hard when it's standalone. It won't make it cook off because it's inert. But once you put them together. Okay, so we're letting it drip off my mixture. Again, I'm just mixing in the tint. I kind of like the gray. It's a light color. Now I'm spinning it to get rid of it. It's a junk bucket, so who cares? Now I'm going to put it like this so it is not going to get into the dirt down there on the ground. So I got to pick something to do half and half. I think I'll do 3/4 would be 1.5. So I'm going to do 3/4 for this. 3/4, where are you? Right there. All right. I don't care if it drips all over the place. I really don't care. Because it's just one of these things that is going to do what it does and runs everywhere, and I don't care. It's okay. So I'm pretty close. A wee bit more would be good. This is the part A. All right. Okay, part A. Putting it in right about at 3/4 of a thing. So I'm going to put a wee bit more. Again, I don't care if it leaks a little bit. All this stuff is going to be tossed away. But since I am, as I think and talk and squawk, going to use the paper towels that I brought, I will try to minimize the mess factor a bit. All right. So we'll get it off the board too. I don't want to transfer this anywhere that it shouldn't go. Trash bucket right there. Paper towels right there. Okay. Put the lid back. Where is the lid? Oh, it's over here. Okay. Use my trowel to tap it in. Okay, so we got the part A in there with the gray tint already to a light gray, which is kind of cool. As I look at it, I feel like it could be a little darker. So I'll put a little more in there. Alrighty then, because I want to make it a little bit darker. It is a bit of a guess. So we're looking at 56. Another thing with about the same amount almost. Okay, right about there. How's that? So now it is starting to do what epoxy does. I mean polyurethane polyaspartic. It's doing its chemical thing. So let's get it down here where I can mix it with the darker gray slightly. Okay, we mixed it up, spun it, and it's just doing its thing a little bit. I'll give it a little bit of time and then give it one more little spin. Alright, so we're going to let this drip, and then we are going to start painting after I set my drill aside and spin it in the bucket like I did a moment ago. Okay, I get the 3-inch good quality latex paint brushes from Home Depot. Trash bucket in it goes. Sometimes the little hairs will break off and you try to pluck them out of the place you're putting your epoxy. So we're going to try to do that. So we did it, we mixed it twice and it's looking good. So now we're going to do painting. That's how you mix it up, guys. And then you paint it on to make it beautiful and you try not to trip and drip. That's how it works. It's a pretty viscous, pretty watery thing, so I got to keep an eye on how fast the drips are going to go. So we will observe. Taking it out to the edges slowly and watching how much dripping is going on. Alright, you always want to keep the epoxy cleaned off your hands. Keep an eye on where everything is going with this stuff. So I'm trying to always monitor and keep an eye on that. If you're holding this thing out over the deck, it's gonna drip, possibly. So not a bad idea to tape and mask everything everywhere. If you feel comfortable and confident, you can just keep it held over where you're going, where you're applying it. And I've got flies bugging me because this is North County, San Diego, where they have horses and all kinds of critters. So get those little sandy dings out of here. You can see the texture from our patches, but that's the nature of the beast, so to speak. So it's part of the way it works. So when you're painting your stuff on, try to attend to where you're flicking. You know, how do you finish out your stroke when you're painting it on? If you flick it, it could put drips way over there. Not what we want. I'm telling myself that as I'm doing this, because you can just sort of forget, and next thing you know, you got, oh, I got to deal with the cleanup. That's very annoying. A lot of times the epoxies, maybe I think with the polys too, they're pretty hard when they're finished going off, so they can pop off the cement and hardscape that you have and be removed pretty easy. Watching the drips. Okay, getting down to the bottom here. Getting close to done on the first coat. Definitely will run a little, so gotta thin it out, paint off your product, off the brush. And then when you get to the edges of areas that you don't want drips, then you have to come back and, like I'm doing right here, there's less material on the brush, right? So there's less chance of drips. So now I'm trying not to fall in the pool. Got the patch over here, so I want to get it thick if I can. Get it pretty thick. This is good. I'm going to paint the outside with gray paint, which is what was done before. It's loading up here on the side. Yeah. Okay, we got that light gray on there, looking pretty good. Again, the outside is going to be painted with regular paint, tape, and masks and all that kind of stuff. But we got our surface coating on there pretty good. And I kind of like how it looks. It looks pretty nice. Used most of our stuff, but not every single bit of it. And I see little drips, so I'm going to just sort of try to smooth them out as it's starting to cook off. But it's kind of how it goes, and it's normal. Any big giant ones, you try to smear them a little bit. At some point it skins off and you're good to go. So I think we're done. We're good. We're done.